So this is part 2 of a video that I promised my audience I was going to finish by today, and I did finish it, but I didn't upload it because I literally forgot. I'm not even being funny with you. I did it last night after I was done streaming, but like yet again, my partner gets home at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and then we got to go to sleep and just go to work the next day. This is part 2. So for those of you who didn't watch part 1, I highly suggest you watch part 1, even if you watch it after this, which would be weird, but like you could do that. Only because you're probably going to get the same story, just the evolved version of it. But I'm just letting you know I will make references to things I said in part 1 instead of repeating those references. So if you're a little lost, you can go back to part 1 and pick that up. Now, apparently people have been talking to me about my microphone availability and how I'm going to hold it. So if you notice me fidgeting around with it, you're just going to have to deal with it as I get comfortable with making these types of moves here. We're talking the fall of Twitch's Elite. Yet again.
Yeah, I don't know what reality we're currently living in, but I will say when Miz and Emmy were going through a horrible time, which was like the whole fucking thing, she would vent her grievances to me.
Now run parallel to the story I told you when I said at the end we were all defending you over what was clear abuse. You don't have, and I think this is more obvious than it is a statement that needs to be made to make a point, but we're going to try to do that anyway. You don't realize that you yourself, Emiru, don't have that many people around you who are normal. Now, that's not your fault. But this echoes the stronger point about how normal people don't get injected into these spaces to regulate the out of control behavior that a bunch of people who have never had this power before, and there are pretty much no precedents to follow outside of like celebrity culture, that force you to understand and reckon with the idea that perhaps in one shape, form, or another, you, my good friend Emiru, have given weaponry to the worst of the worst people just due to proximity. The only way to fix a proximity effect like this is to remove somebody from the proximity, but it's too late for that. We don't have that ability. We don't have that ability anymore. Why we don't have that ability anymore, I don't know. What I do know is that somehow, some way, no matter what comes out about people, they still have attachments to what we consider core components of a responsible group of adults who run communities. I like when Hassan says it's daycare, because it is daycare. You are an after-school show. Like, if you recognized yourself in the same vein as Cyberchase, would that, like, make all of what I'm saying make sense? Is that a sentence that needs to be said? Like, Saturday morning cartoons were a production. It was animated, colored, voice acted, edited, shipped, aired on television. You are television. And by your mere existence and not for it being properly maintained, now the rules are there are no rules. There are no rules, man. We're lost. You guys set the standard. You are the alphas. There will be no class after you. And I hate that people don't recognize this yet, but there will be no class after you. It's getting too real for too many people to spend the next 6 years of their life investing in a pipe dream. When we say people blow up out of nowhere, now it feels forced, because how much of the market was untapped that thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people were not already in some form or fashion ingesting this type of content? Somebody who went viral and popped off, okay, you're clips only. You cannot be an ecosystem that generates retention, because everybody's retention is at a stage where getting into something new and staying there for a few months is difficult on top of all that you already know. All of this being brought upon my brain of concern, my thought process, my little brainstorming session, all because you yourself couldn't say something and instead you said the other thing. There are other things besides the other thing, but you only said the other thing. You kept the dichotomy going. You being abstinent to this decision does not help move anything forward ever, anywhere. For those of you who are longtime watchers, this is why the joke has always been, so you don't like me? Or so you don't think I have knowledge and you can't beat me at Tekken? Ground yourself. What are you nice at? Because you can't be nice at talking. Too many of that. Too many people who found their radio voice and now they're just grandstanding in front of an audience, allowing themselves to become either the butt of the joke or the center of the conversation as they echo and espouse these thoughts that they've never had before but seems to either rile people up or get more mentions of the name of the sake so I can become more of the center of attention. But you got nothing to ground you at. You don't got no I like to do this all the time, and I just don't do it because I be doing other stuff. You don't got none of those? It lets slime balls like this still use and echo your situation to make a larger point. Then 7 other people get caught in the crossfire. They're defending that point from the person that's defending that point, who's defending that point, because we don't have conversations anymore. We're back to what 2008 YouTube was, but without the panache. Back in the day, YouTube, and I've said this so many times already, back in the day, YouTube fights were so well done. Production. You get Adam addressing the allegations, addressing the person, talking about that video, and we all knew what the was going on. Nowadays, it's like, oh, what new did you get clipped out of context that now we have to figure out, well, why did you say that in the first place? But do that ever matter? Do that really ever matter? I don't think so.
And I did meet her parents, but it was at her house. But there was not a single time where I said, excuse me, sir, I believe we should be dating. No, that just literally never happened. I don't, that shit was weird as shit to hear. Like, I got no idea what the fuck they're talking about. We did play cards, though. We played like solitaire. They were fine folk. And then that was kind of how... The reason why I was meeting them is because I was trying to convince them to come on Steak and Eggs. Because Emmy and Asmund convinced me to bring my dad on. Yes, that was not my idea. That was not my idea. I even said it would not be a good idea, but they still wanted to do it. Okay, so let's all calm the...
Maybe my point is made a little bit more clear now. Following the thread that he just had in that 1 minute of thought, who are you at the end of the day, is a question that a lot of us have to ask ourselves now more often than not. I'm very sorry that you have been pulled into all of this. I'm sorry that you've been pulled into having this conversation. But if I teach children for a few days a week and I'm expected to be aware of everything and anything that might have popped off before, after, during, the day before, a week before, online, offline, after school, like if I'm supposed to know these things, or at least try to inquire if there's something I should be paying attention to, you're going to have to do the same. And I'm very sorry if that's too much for you to handle. I'm very sorry that you feel like there's nobody that you can reach out to for help. I am truly and 110% like sorry that this is how you're injected into the daily grind conversation. But what I will say is you make too much money and you have too big an audience to not have this thought in the back of your head from now on.
When did she say that?
So I'm just not gonna pay for it.
It's too big on the screen. I don't want to see that.
You should care about politics in your fucking country.
You need to care. Now you have to care.
Yes, we grew up. We're older.
It's not enough for you not to have an opinion. You have to have an opinion on this.
Because I could have sworn that we were United States citizens.
You don't get to be like, well, I
can't even respond. You see what I mean? You see what I mean? When you give these motherfuckers an inch, they take a mile. You can't be not prepared for this. I'm so surprised. The whole point. The person who probably asked you that could have probably came from his chat just to spark this conversation up just for the clip, bro. You know, like you got to think about this beforehand.
don't agree with this.
You don't get to.
Why do people get their politics from streamers. Okay, they don't get them from you. You act like there aren't other people who exist. You acknowledge that other people exist, and yet you can't figure out the game that's going on here.
Be like?
Whole taxes thing.
When did she say that?
This is the that made me stop recording last night. This is the shit that made me stop recording last night. And it's like, okay, let's pretend for a second that the way he interpreted that metaphor was because he's assuming that everything that Denim says is literal, or like he has a parasocial idea of the person behind the Denim's persona, and he's like, oh, you attack people for what they literally said and not like you don't use figurative language. Let's pretend that's the conversation. Even then, it has come to my attention that you make upwards of a couple $100,000 probably a month. I am aware that all these people are at least making more than $10,000 a month off this. You have to be literate. I'm sorry. I don't want to gauge people's success on their skills as it refers to academics. But when you can drive a conversation 8 miles down the road and people will hop along in the car with you, the fact that you can't read the directions as to where we're going is a problem. Like, that is a actual real life like that is what? Are you for real? Is this you're not serious, right? Again, sorry if that comes off harsh, but like you can't be a pillar and then just decide, oh, well, I actually don't know anything about the world at all. Like, I don't really know how to add and subtract, but I made you guys laugh, right? Yeah, millions of dollars. Like, you would wonder what type of class revolution you would want to have if you really analyzed how many people that are like semi-famous or at least make a good living on the internet, or at least make have a decent position in dialectical materialism. You would wonder like why a group of random ass people would just up like people who are smarter than them, people who are other way around. You would wonder why people who are smarter than the target would like buy into the shit that they put out. Like, you clearly don't have that great of standing in education and understanding literacy and reading comprehension. Like, I don't think you should be the person leading a conversation on like world affairs or some shit like that. Like, you can't also then say in the same sentence, why do you want your politics from a streamer? Because you're not even saying it for the same reasons that like need to be said. So people don't know how to interpret that because they don't know how to interpret. And the cycle goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Then comes the fun part. You feel me? It's so tricky. It's so tricky because now the thing that I say people do to me is happening to everyone. This is a little side note here. When you give people space to speak and they can't be stopped, after the initial claim, which could be correct, they're allowed to follow that up with literally anything else. I think this person's a Nazi. Cheerios, bread, milk. Swear to God, it'll start a whole conversation right there. You don't know these people. You don't know who's watching. Assume the worst people are all around you at all times and move forward as such. It makes it real easy to see who's genuine and who's not. Because the first thing you say out your mouth is, well, why don't you ever talk about this or that? And it's like, you don't know me well enough to bring that up as the first thing you've ever said to me. And if you do know me well enough, why would you say that thing to me? We're going to be parasocial about this? It's hard to catch a motherfucker lacking if you've already set up the standard to where you know who I am and you know what I stand for. You asking that, what's your reasoning for asking? What do you mean by that?
When did she say that?
So I'm just not going to pay for it. You can't say like, well,
Yeah.
I'm just not going to care about all this politics stuff. This is by far like the, I think, dumbest American quality.
Bro, what is he
Yeah.
saying
to?
I'm not into politics?
Yeah, right. No, that's not the dumbest American quality. The dumbest American quality is
I have to stop it before he says it. Oh my God, what could he possibly, what could he possibly, what, there, like, if you have listened this long, there's gotta be the comeuppance, right? This has gotta be the punch. There's gotta be the overhand, because there's no way to follow this up with anything outside of, like, partisan ass politics.
thinking that everybody has to have your politics.
This is why I wait to react to things. This is why I don't pre-watch. Called it because at some point, people who box themselves in an opinion circle, people who ironically box circle, people who put themselves in this group only have but a few moves left. Once you finish the Vienna opening, once you start the French defense, like there are certain moves that you're just gonna do, which are just by the book, the best moves to make. The game can get whittled down there, but like there's always human error. There's always another step to take. There's always a this. There's always a that. The pressure, the crowd, the momentum, the tournament, the game. You could be playing with your friends, all that stuff, right? But at some point, you have to take a piece. Somebody's going to have to make the first move. What you sacrifice to get to the king you could lose all your pieces. If I still checkmate you, it don't matter. Whether you want to or not, every single person that has a voice is a player on the board, is a piece on the board. That's it.
That's the real reason. That's what these people do, is they go around and complete non-argument. They're trying to force her into having an opinion. And you see some of...
But this falls apart immediately. Now that we've had a full discussion on this falls apart immediately. No, they're not forcing everyone to have an opinion on this. You're the one that's actually keeping the conversation going longer and egging them on to say, well, you shouldn't have an opinion on it, but you should also have an opinion. You should also have an opinion on the people who are forcing you to have an opinion. Reactionaries. Nazis.
These tweets, and they're going crazy about this. They're very angry at her for this. Look at all the comments here about this. Apolitical and big 2026. It's actually super easy to stream and have opinions. I'll show you. Fuck ICE, fuck Donald Trump and everyone in his administration, fuck Elon Musk, free Palestine, the US is stolen land built by stolen people, Luigi did nothing wrong, abortion is healthcare, leave trans people the fuck alone. So
now here's a deeper analysis. Locked into that so he could say these are all the lefty slogans. And if you don't agree with any of these lefty slogans, you're a bad person. That's how they try to trap you. Now, if I'm correct, that's because he only has a few moves left. There's only but so many places you can go until your moves start becoming forced. Now there's no way to escape checkmate except for the one square that was left.
it's so easy for you to just repeat my opinions to me and obey us and listen to everything that we tell you and be a good little NPC and allow us to co-opt your platform in a way that you're not comfortable with so we can push our agenda.
Wow. If I wasn't like a betting person, I would almost say that he said exactly what I said was coming, word for word, bar for bar, except I said it like a person with a 5th grade reading comprehension would say it, and he's saying it with the reading comprehension of a 2nd grader. Do you see how just pointing that out puts you at odds with the ideas and identities that you've been given already? Does that make sense to you? It's tricky, right? Let me help you follow through along with the thought. He stopped there on purpose. He subconsciously did that on purpose because that's his plan. He's looking for something to have such monumental weight to it that if we were to apply all these thoughts today, it would shift the culture in an insane way. Nothing would work, right? If the lefties got everything that they wanted, nothing would work. So you stack up a bunch of things, laugh at the entire premise of it, and move on. You don't have to actually address anything that's said ever. Once you've said the word out loud, you've already become a player in the game. This is the culling game, unfortunately. Whether you want to be a part of it or not, as long as you remain in this domain, so shall you play the game. Reactionaries. Nazis. Almost as if they picked Emiru on purpose. And they're going to keep picking people who get blindsided by the idea of having to address or say something on their stream that they might not be comfortable with, to just end up as a part of the conversation. And anyway, when people act like that, they only have but a few moves, because there's only but a few things that work. And the only reason why they work is because this space is still new as baby. It's it. That's it. You don't have a tactic. This hasn't been around for 200 years, and we've seen the bad people come and go. And now we got the playbook. We got the universal terrorist playbook, and we're running it step by step. You don't know anything yet because you've never had to. You got there, and that's it. That's all that time has allowed to happen. So now you have to learn all these lessons from people who are going to expect you to have learned these lessons, or else you wouldn't be where you're at in life. Because we were taught growing up that you needed to know these things before you could be where you're at in life. And when that doesn't measure up, of course there's going to be discontent, because what the am I sitting here feeling a type of way, feeling a certain way, and I'm just sitting here donating to you when you don't have to feel this way at all. And when somebody even asks you if there's a possibility you feel this way, you're like, log off the internet, silly. Why do you want me to say anything about it? Instead of going through that entire chain of thought, I can just look at the first sentence that's brought to my attention and say, the reason why people even thought this would work is because you either don't have enough of a background in just being a person that doesn't fall for this type of trap, or they picked you as an easy target. Either way, you lost the game the moment they got the clip. Sorry that this is the way it's played, but this is the way it's played. And whose fault is that? Collectively, all of ours. Collectively, every viewer, collectively, every sponsor, collectively, every single person. Because no matter what could have happened, here's where we are.
And if you don't do that, we're going to lie about you. We're going to malign you. We're going to attack you. We're going to misrepresent you. And we're going to attack people that are around you. These people are total fucking bullies. They're absolute massive bullies, and I think they need to be called out.
Oh, so he is building the defense of, you shouldn't have an opinion about this, but you should have an opinion about the people who are making you have an opinion about this. In other words, I could have just spent 2 minutes saying that, but would you really have gotten the point? A bully is calling other people bullies. That's grade school behavior.
Like, and the funny thing about this is that this is friendly fire.
And when you have no other moves left, you will just do what I say. You can't escape this. And it's not because I'm some magical savant that's like what is the word? Omniscient. I'm not some magical saint that's omniscient and just knows people. After a certain point, there's just but so many things you can do in life that roll down a certain path at a certain time in a certain place. People put themselves in certain situations, and it's fight or flight. And what follows after that has to be a certain amount of steps, unless the other party magically grows a conscience and changes the game. It happens. Trust me, it happens. But it happens. It happens. It happens. It happens. It happens way, like it's totally rare. And that's because people have egos and paychecks and families and brothers and sisters and other things that they scroll and watch and other things that make their mood a certain way. And once you get that motherfucker locked in, once you do that once and it pop, you're going to have to keep doing that over and over again. You become a song instead of a person. I don't give a what you stand for or believe in. Play that song.
Listen, Emmy has a lot of libtarded opinions. She does. Like, it's pretty fucking obvious. But just because she doesn't want to talk about it on stream, they treat her as if she's a fucking Nazi.
Play that music, white boy. I don't even have to try. This is why I'm appalled that, like, y'all can't figure out a way to, like, knock this motherfucker down a peg. Because I could have this realization without two 35-minute pieces, an entire hour. I cannot be the smartest person in this circle. It's impossible. It's impossible. Because at some point I gotta be wrong, right? But damn it if I don't literally walk you through my thought process as it's happening and then the thing happens. How many years have I done this for? And not once have I been wrong about anybody. Maybe misguided. Never wrong. Maybe you should just trust what I say. Maybe elevate somebody like me, somebody near me, and I could take the little coattails. But you want me to work for it? Okay, well, if I'm going up, somebody's coming down.
If you don't like ICE, I think you have every right to say that you don't like ICE, and you think ICE is terrible, and you think they should get rid of ICE. I think that you're wrong, but I also think that I should have my right to say it.
Because in the back of my head, I'm really just thinking out loud. Like, in the back of my head, there's a screaming thought. Well, man, it wasn't that it was illegal to criticize the Fuhrer. It was that it was illegal to resist the orders of the Gestapo. So if they didn't like what you were saying, even if it wasn't, like, they just could interpret it that way. The whole point is that you're siding with a clear oppressor, which means that at some point or another, the oppressor will just stop the other. You can't have a difference of opinion in this stake. There is only, you either hate it or for some reason you're apathetic to it. Like, there's no other, I like it, I'm indifferent to it, I don't like it. There's no third option.
But the one thing that I don't think either groups of these people have the right to is to take streamers and people that don't want to be involved in this.
I'm going to be real serious with you. I don't think there's not one U.S. citizen who has died at the hands of ICE who wanted to be involved in this. All right, let's really get down to brass tacks here. Let's really say the quiet part out loud. I think you're missing the entirety of the conversation, and you are literally just walking your ass through whatever brain fart you've noticed with your eyes as you keep talking through your chat.
And then lie, bully, and malign them into having a viewpoint, and then attack them whenever they take a step in the wrong direction.
Is that not literally, this reactionary high schooler is insane, bro. This reactionary high schooler bullshit is insane. Like, it's actually troubling how easy it is to just be a moron. To be an actual piece of shit. It is insane to me that, like, you can just walk your ass out here and say just the wildest, dumbest shit with no real logic to it. And, like, you're forced to, by the way the world works, to work within their framework instead of just calling them stupid. Like, I appreciate that you have the intellectual capacity to string together words, but I'm gonna be real. Can I ask you a question? Zach, can I ask you a question? I need to ask you a question. And I'm being 110% serious here. What the actual are you talking about? This whole dichotomy of thought is so stupid. If I told you there was a way to end hunger that required no money, we could just do it. Like, straight up, if I told you that there was a magic ray that could be pumped into the sky every 3 hours and it would just instantly make everyone feel like nutritionally fed. It costs $0. It will have zero emissions. No one will ever notice it. It won't even make a blip in the day. If you sit there and say, but what if I had Dunkin' Donuts an hour before? I'm going to lose my mind, bro. Oh my God. Oh my God. You all want to have everything. Like, you want to be these independent thinkers so bad. I don't listen to the mainstream. I don't think homelessness is a problem of a state. It's a problem of the individual. And it's just like, dog, you know for a fact that there can't be 100% employment. You know for a fact that the reason the housing market exists as it does, the thing that props up most of the economy, the consumer market, requires people to make money in order to do it. You know for a fact that there are people with way more money than other people. Like, on what God's green earth do you think everyone could afford a apartment? Like, where would they be buying the stuff to fill the apartment? How would they pay the bills at the job that everyone else would be at for their job? You need people with disposable income. Holy, it's the only way it works, dog. Oh my God. Like, the basic roadmap to be an adult already shows you the issue, and for some reason we're still here. Mama. Like, please, bro. Have one coherent thought, I'm begging you.
That's the main problem. It's not the end, it's the beginning. And it will only get worse. These people are parasites. They are the worst group of people on the entire, well, not the worst group, but they're one of the worst groups of people on the entire internet. And the way that they collectively bully people into having different opinions and trying to force this thought is disgraceful. Well, I want to let you guys know that I will do every single thing that I possibly can for my entire life to limit their influence, their authority, their ability, and I will do everything that I can possibly do to damage them, because I think that it's the right thing to do. It is, because I see the way that they treat people and I see the way they act, and it's wrong.
No, get him out, tap out. Time out, flag on the play, offsides, traveling. Yo, I sound like a dolphin. Oh my God. He really said, he really hit us with the...
Excuse me, bro. You're excused. And I'm not your bro.
Like, ooh. Straight May says 5th grade. I think that they're flailing. I think that their support is actually dwindling and they're botting it up. And I think that we should put pressure, apply more pressure, targeted pressure. It's time. This space could be more than it ever could be. You just got to acknowledge that you got the power. And we do. You got the numbers. You got the will. You just need to know how to direct it. Won't even take you more than 30 minutes a day. Swear to God. In conclusion, took me about, hour and a half?